Welcome to the TJ Walker Success Podcast. In this episode, you're getting powerful insights from How to Persuade When Facts Don't Seem to Matter, a course that dives into mastering influence even when logic doesn't work. Want the full training? Click the link in the description to access the complete course today.
Let's start off with a quick win. Have you ever been on an airplane and all of a sudden there's turbulence and you're feeling scared, you're feeling nervous, you're thinking, oh my gosh, what if the plane goes down? And have you ever been driving somewhere and felt completely relaxed? Well, if the answer is yes to both of those questions, it means you're completely irrational. I know for me, the answer is yes. I get nervous sometimes on planes, and yet I feel completely comfortable driving. Well, the facts don't warrant that. The facts show that on average, only a couple hundred people a year die in planes. 1.2 million to 1.4 million people a year die around the globe in cars. If the facts really resonated with all of us, we'd be incredibly nervous driving. We would avoid driving, and we would be completely relaxed when it comes to flying. And yet, we're all human beings. We all process facts differently. We're all emotional at some level. If the facts worked by themselves, would any of us ever eat junk food? I know I've eaten junk food. I've heard the facts that it's really bad for my health, shortens my life, but occasionally, do I eat a potato chip or a French fry? Sure. I'm willing to bet you do too. So that's the starting point, is we have to realize nobody in the world is completely rational. No human being in the world is like the Spock character on the old Star Trek who does everything based on facts. That's not the way the world works. So if you're going into some conversation with someone attempting to persuade them by facts, you actually don't have your facts straight, because the facts are, that's not how humans operate. If you want to be more persuasive, be humble. I've seen countless examples of friends, colleagues who are smart, they're well educated, their IQ was high, but so often their approach was, I'm the smartest guy in the room, and often it was a guy. And if you don't see it the way I do, you're stupid, you're irrational, you're a moron. This is the fastest way to persuade somebody to do the opposite of what you were hoping to get them to do. Nobody likes that. So if you want to be persuasive, your starting point has to be humility. You have to be humble. And one of the best ways of really conveying that is by sharing examples of where you didn't listen to the facts, where you didn't follow what the facts dictated, and how in some cases it might have harmed you. In some cases, it just made you nervous or uncomfortable, and there was no rational reason for that. But start off with a position of humility. Now, I do have other personal development courses, and I do stress the importance of eating healthy food and living a healthy lifestyle. But still, there are times when if I see tons and tons of chocolate or chocolate-covered nuts in front of me, I overindulge. I eat too much. So I know the facts. Don't eat more than 1 or 2 pieces of chocolate or a dessert in any 24-hour periods. And yet, I still do the wrong thing. So if I can do the wrong thing with as much time as I've spent learning about health, learning about nutrition, conducting courses on how to be physically healthy, then I certainly have to be more understanding of other people who make mistakes too. So I go into this with humility. I'm urging you to do the same thing. You've got to be humble if you want to persuade people. If one fact doesn't work, maybe there's another that will. Maybe there's emotion. Maybe there's a story that will. Maybe you got to tie it to something else where there is a stronger emotional connection. We'll be talking about emotions a great deal in this course, but for me, trying to break my addiction to sugar and desserts, I give myself a text and an audio reminder every day. And apologies if this seems grim, but nothing I love more in the world than my young daughter, Rosa. So I give myself a reminder every day, TJ, if you eat sugar, Rossa could grow up fatherless. That's pretty bold, emotional. It's negative. It's playing on fear. I'm not suggesting you do that to motivate other people. But in my case, it's much more persuasive to me. And I'm trying to persuade myself when the facts don't matter. Now, most of this course is about how to persuade others, but a good place to start is persuading ourselves, because if we're candid and humble, quite often we don't persuade ourselves with facts alone. It's got to be some other emotional connection. Empathy is a key to persuasion. You can have all the facts on your side. If the person you're trying to persuade doesn't feel empathy from you, it's human nature to put up a wall. It's human nature to be defensive. They're telling me to do this. My whole focus is going to be to say no, or to pick flaws in it, or pick it apart in some way. If people feel like you genuinely have empathy for them, they're not putting up all these walls to protect themselves. You protect yourself from someone tearing you apart, from someone attacking you. But if they never feel like you are attacking them with what you're trying to persuade them to do, if they feel like your facts are not an attack, the defenses don't go up. So it's crucial to persuade with empathy, and to start with empathy. If you're trying to coach an executive or an employee who's not getting things on a timely basis, rather than saying, hey, why are you always late? I'm going to fire you if you do this one more time. That just makes people very defensive generally. Instead, it's going to be far more effective to say, hey, Jim or Sanjay or Sally, I see you've been working really hard, and I see you're here after 5. I appreciate the effort. You did a great job on the such and such project. I'm noticing that our weekly reports that are due at noon every Friday on my desk are not getting here. And I know you're working hard. I want to see if together we can come up with some suggestions of how to change priorities to get it here and make it easier for you to do that. And let me tell you, I can relate. Early in my career, I'll never forget, my boss was livid at me. I was supposed to have a proposal for this major advertising campaign for a client on his desk Thursday morning at 9, because we were giving the presentation Friday morning. And I overslept and I didn't get it. And it sort of scars me to this day. So I can relate. Now, let's switch over and think about how can we start your report sooner so it can get here on time. Starting off like that, where I'm showing empathy. I'm emotionally showing, I realize they're doing these other things well. I'm revealing how, hey, I'm not perfect. I had problems with this in the past too. Now, how together can we get to the point where this has to be done? Because the facts were simple. The facts are, this report is due on my desk at this time, and if you don't do it, you're in trouble. Those were the facts. Simply stating the facts wouldn't necessarily make it happen. So I need you to always lead with empathy. There's a family member, I won't mention her name, in my family who has a problem with posture. And it is a source of frustration with other family members. I would also like to see this family member have better posture. I don't just say, stand up straight, stand up straight. I'm candid. I say, look, I've had a problem with posture in my life. And I used to have my shoulders rounded too much. I still have to battle it. I do and this is true, I do exercises every single day to give me better posture. And some of you may have even taken my posture course. I have a whole course just on how to deliver posture. But I do exercises every day. And then I show this family member the exercises I do. And then I say, would you like to do some with me? So I'm approaching the entire conversation through the lens of empathy, not just Here are the facts. Your posture is bad. People are going to judge you. It's going to cause further problems in your health as you get older. I'm not just laying out the facts. I'm positioning everything through the lens of empathy, and that's what makes it more persuasive. If you don't agree with me, you're a moron. Now, chances are you've probably heard something like that in your life, whether it's from a boss, a colleague, more likely from a family member. Here's the thing. I don't like it when someone says that to me. You don't like it. No one likes it. So it's crucial when you're in a conversation with someone, you're trying to persuade them. You've laid out the facts and they disagree with you, or they may just flat out assert that your facts are incorrect. And you've double checked it, you've checked your sources, the facts are on your side. And the tendency is going to be to say, look, you're just pigheaded. Let's say it's a family member and you're trying to get them to stop smoking. And the facts are, if you smoke, you dramatically increase the odds of killing yourself, of dying prematurely, of getting lung cancer, a whole host of diseases and problems that can affect your life and end your life. Those facts are true. And the family member you're trying to persuade to give up smoking just says, nope, I don't believe it. Doctors lie. All made up. I have a friend who lived to be 102 and they smoked every day. I'm sure you've encountered people like that, right? You might be thinking this person has a blockhead. This person is stupid. This person is irrational. This person is a moron. Maybe, but saying that isn't going to help your cause. Saying that isn't going to persuade them. Don't lose sight of the fact of what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to persuade them to do something different or to make a choice. You're trying to create change at some level. Your goal is not to show off that you're smart and they're dumb. That should never be your goal. So don't lose sight of that. Keep in mind, name calling doesn't help. Getting angry with someone isn't ultimately going to persuade. Now, you come into this course presumably with the idea that you like facts. You wish the world were more rational. You would like to persuade people to do the right thing. You've got to apply that to yourself. There's simply no fact anywhere. There's no data set showing that if you get angry, you're more likely to persuade someone of something. No, it just makes them angry. It makes them defensive. It shuts them off to new information. So it's crucial. Even if you're feeling angry or amazingly frustrated, you've got to stay focused on listening to them, showing empathy for them, perhaps coming up with a different argument, a different story, a different way of making your facts somehow resonate with them in the context of their life. The single easiest way to persuade people to do something you want or to not do something you want when the facts alone don't persuade is through emotion. You must package your facts in emotional terms that resonate with the person you're trying to persuade. We can talk about a million different biases and all sorts of tactics and strategies, but if I had to boil down this entire course to one core principle, it really is this. You must communicate at an emotional level as well. We've already revealed that the facts alone don't persuade people. If there is a difference between what their emotions tell them, what their biases tell them, and what the facts say. So you've got to figure out how to use emotion to your advantage. Now, there's a perception that people have, I don't want to do that. That's demagogic. I don't want to be a demagogue. That's what dictators do. That's not responsible. No, I want you to do it in a way that's authentic to you, in a way that you believe is still intellectually honest, but does, in fact, couple the message with emotion. It can be done, and it can be done in a way that you feel good about. I'm going to give you some examples shortly, but I need you to marinate on this concept for a little while, that you do, in fact, need to use emotion if you want to persuade. It's not a bad thing. It's not beneath you. It's not gimmicky. It's simply how human beings communicate. It's how they process information. It's how they decide what's important in their life and what isn't. More on emotion in a moment. The most effective communicators everywhere, whether they're on a stage in front of 50,000 people or they're talking one-on-one to colleagues, investors, associates, even family. The most successful communicators, influencers, persuaders, they're all different, but they're all the same. They're the same in that they use one particular technique more than anything else, and that is storytelling. Great communicators, great persuaders consistently package that emotion, they package the facts, they bundle it up in a way that's easy for people to understand and remember because it's told as a story. Now, it's not as quick or as efficient as just laying out all the facts, but it's ultimately much more powerful. A lot of parents want to persuade their kids not to lie. Tell the truth. The message is, the facts are, say the truth all the time and you won't have your credibility destroyed and people will believe you. Those are the facts. That's true. Saying it once like that in 5 seconds isn't persuadable. It's not memorable. It's not interesting. It's just the facts. You should tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, you won't be believed when you need it. You won't have credibility. Those are facts. But saying it like that, especially to a kid, isn't very persuasive. So how can you get a kid to be persuaded to do the same thing, even if they don't like those facts? Well, you tell a story. Most kids, I know my own daughter, and when I was a kid, I heard this story of the boy who cried wolf. I'm sure you've heard it before. I won't tell the whole thing here, but it's just a more interesting way of stressing that you have to tell the truth. The nutshell, the little boy kept on crying wolf. There was no wolf. He just wanted to hang out with other kids and stop having a boring day as a shepherd. So he kept on crying wolf. They came, wasted a lot of the townspeople's time. And then when the wolf did come and eat all of his lambs, no one would believe him because he cried wolf once too often. My daughter loved the story. I loved the story as a kid, and it drives home the message. So children's stories do that. All religious texts have embedded in them stories to make certain moral principles more memorable, more interesting, more relatable, more visual. So if you want to persuade people, you've got to figure out what is a story that they're going to find compelling and interesting that they can relate to. So how do you actually tell a story? Because I'm hearing some of you may be thinking right now, TJ, that's great, but I'm not an actual storyteller. I don't tell stories. Well, I'm going to break it down for you in this next lecture and make it really simple and clear how you can tell a story.
That was just a glimpse into how to persuade when facts don't seem to matter. If you've ever struggled to convince someone using logic alone, this course shows you how to truly connect through empathy, emotion, and powerful storytelling. To access the full course and sharpen your persuasive edge, click the link in the description. Thanks for tuning in to the TJ Walker Success Podcast. Until next time, stay confident, stay persuasive, and never stop learning.